Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money, with your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here with episode 1079 of Screw the Commute podcast. Today we're going to talk about charitable giving and what you can give and what kind of tax deductions you can get and all that stuff. Hope you didn't miss episode 1078. That was vehicle leasing. Also has a tax connection to it, but you should always, for both of these, check with your financial advisors before you make any major moves. All right, pick up a copy of our automation ebook at screwthecommute.com/automate free. Version 3.0 is the latest. And check out my mentor program at greatinternetmarketingtraining.com and my school at imtcva.org, certified to operate by Chev. Okay, I got thinking about this because I've been cleaning out I have about 5 different libraries in this retreat center of mine. And so I started cleaning out all the magazines that I just throw away that I've been saving for years, and then starting to donate some of the books, because we need to renovate this whole place. And the books I found out I could donate to the local library. Awesome. And I'm thinking, oh man, I could, get rid of probably 4,000 books and get a massive tax deduction this year. Well, I'm glad I started researching it before I went too far, because I found out that what the method is for libraries or for this type of donation, and I'm going to get into a bunch of different types as we go here, but the maximum is $5,000, or you have to have an appraisal of your book collection. And I'm thinking, oh man, I don't want to pay an appraiser just to go down to get a little bit of a deduction, all right, and haul these heavy books all around and all this stuff. So I slowed down on that, and even though we packed up what appears now to be 2 years worth of books, I'm only going to take a year's worth down this year and save the rest till next year to get another 5,000 donation. So the point here is before you do anything, if you think you have things of value that you want to donate, not only to help the organization, but you want to get a deduction for it. Surely you should do that. I'm all for benevolence, but if you can get a tax deduction too, yay, go for it. So the appraisal would have had me find a book expert and look at my stuff. Are they scientific? Are they collectible books? Are they business and marketing books? And what's the market value for them and all this stuff? So I didn't want anything to do with that. So I just kept it well below 5,000, and I'll save some for next time. But always check with your tax advisor or do a lot of research, no matter what you think you want to give to what organization, because it does matter what kind of organization it is and who you are and what business entity you are. So I'll just run through some of the business entities that could be you. And the first one is not a business entity at all. It's just you as an individual. But to get any kind of tax deductions for a donation, you must itemize your taxes at the end of the year. You can't do it if you just take the standard deductions. Then you have sole proprietor. So if you have a business, but you're not a formal S corp or C corp or partnership, then that has different rules. If you're an S corp, that has different rules. If it's a C corp, it's different rules. If it's a partnership, it has different rules. See? So you have to look into that and see, okay, for the way I'm going to donate these things, then what business entity am I donating them under? And to get a tax deduction, it must be a qualifying organization. So my particular one given to a library is I'm donating to a government entity, but in parentheses, they have next to it for public purposes. So these books will be shown or, I don't know exactly what they're going to do with them. And sometimes that makes a difference too. Are they going to sell them in their bookstore? Or are they just going to put them in their regular books to lend out? So that makes a difference too. Any 501c3 is okay to donate to. Educational institutions, churches or religious institutions, some veterans organizations, some scientific organizations. Those are all qualifying organizations to use a tax write-off. But make sure you get a receipt from the organization. And I'm going to tell you about specific types of donations that require appraisals or fair market value determinations and things like that. Now, one thing you can't donate to get a deduction, you can certainly donate to, but you can't get a deduction, is political. Any GoFundMe things that aren't set up under 501c3, political PACs, those kinds of things, no, you don't get a tax deduction for them. And then there's limits on how much you can donate. And a lot of times it's a percentage of your what they call AGI, adjusted gross income. And in C corporations, it's 10% of your taxable income. Again, I'm just giving you general stuff. Like I said, your tax advisor, if you're doing this on a large scale, should be involved to make sure you do everything properly, because you don't want to get the deduction disavowed if you get audited or something. All right, so what kind of things can you do? You can do equipment, you can do inventory. Now, if it's a vehicle, like you hear this on the radio all the time, cars for kids. Well, here's the deal with that. You might say, well, I got a $8,000 collectible car. And let's say Cars for Kids auctions it off to get the money. Well, whatever the auction price went for is the only amount that you can deduct. If you said it's worth $8,000, but it auctioned for $1,850, that's how much you can take off, is $1,850. And now with real estate, you have to have an actual appraisal to see how much you can take off. Again, I'm giving you the generalities for your specific situation, for your specific piece of real estate or vehicle, for your business entity and who you're donating to. It all matters here. Now, I'm not trying to discourage you, because it can be a great tax deduction if you have stuff that you want to donate and it's to the right places and the right things. Great. You can also donate stock, artwork. I imagine jewelry probably needs an appraisal for that too. Now, what you can't donate and take a tax deduction is your time. So let's say I donated a speech to some organization in California, and I paid my own expenses to get there. Well, I can deduct the expenses from either business expense. See, some of these things, you might think they're a charitable thing, but actually you can still get a benefit by making it a business deduction. So let's say I donated to a car dealer. I said, okay, I'll give you a scholarship to give away through your dealership as a big promotion for the people that buy a certain kind of car, but you promote my school as giving the scholarship. Well, that's not a charitable thing at all, even though it's being given to somebody who wins the scholarship. Or if they bought a car, they're put into a drawing for the scholarship, something like that. But the fact that I got advertisement out of it takes it cleanly out of the charitable arena and puts it into the advertising or business arena. And another thing is you have to watch for is, like, even though the scholarship might be worth $19,000, you got to figure out how much does it really cost to deliver that to a student. So sometimes that's all you can deduct. Again, you got to get your tax advisor to figure this out, or I suggest you do all the research and give it to them to confirm, so they don't have to do, $100 or $200 an hour do basic research for you. But you can't, your time volunteered is not tax deductible. So that's a big overview of this. It can be very valuable to you if you have stuff that can donate to get you some tax deductions. Or like I said, if it converts into advertisement, a business deduction. I don't care either way, but you can do a lot of good in the world by contributing all these things. And one thing I left off the list, you can do money. Okay. And in fact, some of the more advanced charitable giving techniques involve money and foundations and things like that, which is far too much for this episode. But if you have a big income and you've started a foundation, then you have other ways that you can get tax deductions. So there you go. So charitable giving can, I leaned heavily towards the tax deductibility of this for your benefit, because that's my job, is to help you be successful in business. But I don't want to downplay the fact that you're doing a lot of good with the things if you give to the proper charities that are actually giving. One thing I am skeptical of is when the CEO of the charity makes $12 million a year and like $2 out of every 100 make it to actually helping people, and the rest of it is administrative crap. I stay away from that tremendously. I'd rather give directly to the closest entity to the final use of the money for good. That's my philosophy and things. So, for instance, when I don't think I got a tax deduction for this, but I raised $24,000 for Bichon Rescue. And the money went directly to the two people running the rescue thing so that the dogs could get their vet bills paid and all that stuff. See, so I didn't want to give to some national organization that's got 58 layers of bureaucracy that eats up all the money before it gets to the dogs. I put it that way. All right, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Check out my mentor program, greatinternetmarketingtraining.com, and my school, imtcva.org. And I will catch you on the next episode. See you later.